All right, welcome back to another episode of The Final Word. Thank you for listening and continuing to support the podcast. I am joined by my co-host Gary. Gary, how you doing, buddy?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm good. I am good. Lots of fun stuff to talk about today. We're just going to get right into it because we got a couple of good ones. I got some theories on this first one here. First of all, Anders, how do you think we pronounce that? I
I
should
think it's
have.
I think it's William. Ooh, that's good. Because we got the guy from Workaholics who's Onder, right? He's
Yeah,
Anders.
I think it depends on,
Like nationality.
yes. But I could have watched one YouTube news story and they would have pronounced it correctly and we wouldn't have had this issue, but I did not prep
Too much work.
for this. So I'm gonna go William Anders.
Okay, I'll go
Anders?
Anders.
Yeah, okay. Well, there you go. You say Anders, I'll say Anders. That way at
Perfect.
least one of us gets it right.
Yeah.
But the famed Apollo 8 astronaut, who was, by the way, 90 years old, dies in a horrible plane crash, nosediving into the water. There is video. If you go on TikTok, you can watch the video. Somebody was just like, I think it was a lake. He was flying over a lake, and there was just
Okay.
like families out by the lake, like filming on their phones. Somebody caught the whole thing, crazy nosedive straight into the water. To be flying a plane at 90 is where I want to start here. The man is 90 years old and he's flying what looks like a vintage Air Force T-34, which means nothing to me. I don't know besides vintage. So the guy was flying, I'm assuming, a old, possibly owned vintage
Oh
airplane
yeah.
at
Hmm.
90 years old. And this is the theory I got. First of all,
Here we go.
RIP to a legend. The man is famous because he was obviously an astronaut who went to the moon. He was orbiting the moon. I don't know if he necessarily landed on the moon,
He did not.
but he was okay. But he was orbiting the moon and took the famous Earthrise photo, which is, I'm assuming, the most famous photo of the Earth ever.
I think so.
There's the blue dot
Hmm.
photo, which
Yes.
I think is very famous as well. But I mean, this is an incredible photo. I read somewhere somebody was basically saying every human that has ever existed ever is in that photo except him, which is kind of crazy to me.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, everybody who was living from that time until they died was in that photo except him and yeah, his co-pilot. That's pretty
And
crazy to think about.
yeah, people that had died and were in the ground
Oh
during the
yeah.
time of that photo, they're in the photo. I
Shit.
mean, it's like a large percent of anyone that's ever existed is all in one photo, and he's the only one not in it. He, of course, took it. If you don't know what we're talking about, Google, Earthrise photo. It's kind of crazy that he could take such an incredible photo and be, this legendary astronaut. And like, if you would have asked me a week ago who took that photo, I would have no idea.
I've seen that photo 1,000 times. Never
Yeah.
even thought about who took
I'm
it.
sure he's always getting credited in the photo. I don't look at it. I don't even think to be like, who took this photo? What was the story? What were they doing? The fact that he was orbiting the moon is pretty wild and something I never really thought about. It just goes to show you, I think, how when you die, this is when you get the recognition, right? This is when people
Mhm.
really learn about you. I'm sure a lot of very smart people knew who he was and knew who took the photo, but some, jerk off like me who's just seen the photo, never really learned who this guy was or what he was doing until he died. So I don't know. I always think it's interesting when stuff like this happens when somebody who created something incredibly historic and like one of a kind, and it's like, oh, that's who that was, and the only reason is because he died.
And
But
he had an absolutely incredible life too. But
yeah,
yeah, I've never heard of William Anders until today.
what do you got on him? What I mean, besides the fact that he orbited the moon and took one of the most famous photos of all time.
Fighter pilot.
Very cool.
He was a fighter pilot. Born in Hong Kong,
Okay.
British Hong Kong. So I think he was like a military brat as well. Obviously became an astronaut.
Yeah.
He funded and created this flight museum. And I say all of this because I want to get to like my real point. But again, then also he pilots the Apollo 8 mission that circled the moon 10 times. The last time, and when he took that picture, their final orbit of the moon was on Christmas Eve. And that's when
Wow.
he took the Earth rising photo. But this seems like an incredibly accomplished pilot.
Yeah.
And he's 90 years old. And I know you want to get to that. And again, I haven't seen the video, but you're saying it just nosedives into water?
Yeah. So I mean, my theory is I'm assuming he just did it. I think he killed himself.
Suicide, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That's how it seemed to me.
Gotta be. And I feel like suicide isn't even the right word. I feel like the man was 90 years old,
Hmm.
and who knows, maybe he was sick, maybe he got diagnosed with something, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to decide how I go out. And
Hell yeah.
he gets in his vintage plane.
Vintage
Well,
plane. And I'm looking at it. It's a prop plane, dude, and it looks
yeah,
old as shit.
yeah. And again, he's 90 years old. I can't imagine are there when you're like 65, you got to retest for your driver's license.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like 90 to be able to have like a pilot's license.
Yeah.
I don't even know how that works, let alone if he had a pilot's license. So my immediate thought, and then especially after I saw the video, was this guy probably just wanted to go out on his own terms.
Hmm.
He was an incredibly accomplished human being, makes it to
Yeah.
90. Why not go out in a blaze of glory in your favorite plane?
Your favorite plane circling a beautiful part of the country. I Google Earth that where he dumped
Yeah.
it.
Oh yeah.
It's gorgeous off the coast of Washington. He didn't hit land. He didn't hit a boat. You know what I'm saying? He just
Yeah,
dumped it into the water.
that was my thought too. I was like, when I first saw 90-year-old plane crash, astronaut, whatever, I'm like, okay, if he crashed in what looks like a planned or like a mapped out area to where he knew nobody else would get hurt, that would like solidify it for me. And then I saw the video and I was like, this dude ended on his own terms, and I love it.
I love it too. And he's like, nobody's getting this fucking plane.
No, this is my plane. It dies with me in the water as I
Yeah.
know, dude. I just picture him just nose diving with a big smile on his face, like just ready to go. And I hope that's what happened.
I do too. I really do. This gorgeous fucking plane that is probably so expensive. I want to see how much these things go for, but he's
Yeah,
owned it forever. And I don't know if you know this, but and the only reason I know this is because my dad like flew like Cessnas for a little bit. But
yeah,
anytime you get in a plane, especially if you're taking off from like a little private airport, you have to give whoever a flight plan. You have to have a flight plan. You
yeah,
can't just go up there and cruise around. So he had to have at some point strayed from his flight plan and just decided now's the time. I'm
yeah.
good.
I hope so, man. It would be a real bummer if he did just like have a stroke or something and just crashed. I don't know
That
why
would
I'm
be
laughing, but it would just be a bummer if I just the idea of him, coming up with this plan and, executing it perfectly, taking his plane with him. It probably was a very expensive plane. His family probably could have sold it for a lot of money,
these
like if he would have.
they range anywhere from 189 grand to 850 grand.
Sure. So I mean, if he like I'm sure he took good care of it. I'm sure it was probably in great condition, and he probably said, you know what, this is my plane, this is my plan, and this is how we're going out. God, I hope. And it's like, I guess maybe they could do an investigation and get a better idea of like what exactly happened. Like if there was like malfunctions on the plane, then maybe we find out that wasn't the case. But
Hmm.
if they come back and they don't find any sort of like plane malfunctions, I'm keeping that idea in my head for the rest of my life. And
Yeah,
it's
I love it.
beautiful. I love it
I
too.
and I think that this plane is so old. There's probably no comms on the plane, so I doubt we'll hear like any like you know chatter. I mean, I
That's
guess
true.
maybe if he was like on a headset or something, but
There's got to
yeah,
be he had to have had a way to communicate, I would
yeah,
assume.
that's probably
But
true. Yeah,
but but yes, a vintage plane like that probably didn't have, maybe, they may not be able to get a ton of feedback from, an investigation that they would have if it was a more, up to date current type of aircraft, right? So,
right.
and he probably knew that, and he probably, it's just going to be a mystery. The guy's a legend. Either way, No matter what happened, he took an incredible photo. He lived an awesome life. He was an astronaut who actually becomes an astronaut. You make it to 90 and you go out in a literal blaze of glory. I mean, it's the perfect life.
How many
Yeah.
percentage of people actually get to decide at every step, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and then
He
10 for
did
10.
life perfectly.
Yep, absolutely.
I don't know how Netflix hasn't already secured the rights to this man's life because if I don't see a documentary, there's already three P. Diddy documentaries on
I
Hulu.
saw that. I
If
watched one on Hulu.
I don't know, somebody over at Netflix deserves to lose their job if you don't already own the rights to this man's life. Because look, I'll tell you, Apollo 11, Tom Hanks,
Hmm.
classic. This whole nother level here. I mean, the dude just nailed it. He really did. I hope everything went exactly according to plan for the guy. And R.I.P. William Anders, 90 years old, dying in a blaze of glory and taking, in my mind, I don't know, top five photos all time. I mean, I don't know if I could break down what my top five is, but that's definitely in the top five.
I'm just putting it there. I'm not even thinking of any other photos. That's top five.
Yeah. So, and like I said, I don't know. Did you watch the video? Did you find it?
Yeah, he's flying at altitude and then just dips it. That doesn't even look like he was even trying to pull up.
For sure.
Yeah, after seeing that, yeah, my mind's made up. He knew what he was doing.
Yeah. R.I.P. to the legend. What a life.
What a life,
What a
dude.
great story. What a way to go out. I hope his family's doing okay. Either way.
What a great blueprint for life. Accomplish your dreams. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? Even to like the very highest level.
sure.
And then when you're done, you're done.
Yeah.
I don't
I
think
mean,
suicide is that like, I don't think it's like that disgraceful anymore.
especially at 90.
Yeah, you're
I
fucking
mean,
90 years old
90
too.
years old. I mean, you know how many times I've seen like videos on the internet of like 95-year-old grandma blowing out candles on her birthday cake and
I don't want to be here anymore.
and she's like can't even blow the candles out, like she's
Yeah.
so weak. You're like,
Yeah.
somebody just shove this lady's face in the cake and suffocate her.
Go out eating cake,
Please,
Betsy.
somebody do this poor woman a favor. She doesn't want to be here. I think everybody should be allowed. There should be a government program where maybe this is a nonprofit I'm going to start right here. This
I
is this
like
is
it.
this is the idea. Let me pitch it to you.
Yes.
Government funded. The military's got an incredible budget. I mean, what, trillions and trillions of dollars.
Yearly.
This is what is going to get them back on the good graces of at least some people. They're going to start a program where they build little Cessna planes. And if you don't want to do, because assisted suicide is now a real thing, you could get the pill. There's like Switzerland has like the pods that you could get into where they just put some gas in, you slowly just fall asleep and like you're done. There's a ton of different ways to properly get assisted suicide. I want the government to build little Cessna planes and give you the ability to get into a plane, pick a deserted part of the world, and you're allowed to fly that plane and just crash it into whatever you want, and that's how you go out.
Hey, can I piggyback on your idea real quick?
Yeah, of course.
They drone you. They control the plane and just put you way up. So that way you can't fuck it up, and hit
Okay.
like a house.
Sure. I do like the idea of like having to do like 80 hours of flight simulator to kill yourself. So
Yeah, okay, I like that. Like
that's
if
kind
you
of
have to
fun.
train for it.
And that's like the period where like you really get to think like if you're serious about it, right?
I like that. I see what you're
You get
saying.
a little time to play the pros and cons in your head. And then
Okay.
after you finish the 80 hours of flight simulator, because I want to be able to grab that steering wheel and really just push it down. I feel like that's a big part of it.
All right. What if at the
If
like
you're just
what
sitting there and like some dork with like a remote control is like flying you into the side of a mountain, no.
you know what
I want to do it myself.
the problem with my idea too is it's kind of like a firing squad where they used to line up 8 people and 7 of them would have blanks and then only
Yeah,
one would have the real. So we would
sure.
have to line up 8 dorks like with remote controls so
Yeah,
they didn't know who killed you.
you'd have to find a guy who's like, oh yeah, I'll just crash old people into the sides of mountains, no problem.
You give me 180K a year, I'll do that shit all fucking day.
You would be the perfect person for that. You wouldn't even lose any sleep over it.
No.
Gary'd go be whistling on the way to his car at the end of the day.
I'd be listening to
Oh,
311 on the way home.
oh
Just,
my God. Yeah, just the windows down. You got your arm hanging out. Just another day.
just
Oh
smoking a
man.
cigarette, just like
I mean, it's not the worst idea I've ever had.
it's not. And
Somebody
listen,
somebody figure that out for me.
if this guy really did end it, it's an honorable way to go now, guys. Like, if you're thinking about shooting up a mall, listen to Rob because he's got a better plan for you.
Exactly. You're not there's no way you're getting any enjoyment out of a Macy's shooting.
Right.
Think about being able to just go at sunset, you go at sunrise, you have a nice cup of coffee, maybe put a little whiskey in the coffee,
Yeah.
and you really just you do it the right way. I think my idea is not only effective and efficient, but life-saving at this point.
It'll be the move, dude.
It's like it's the same thing. Well, whatever. I'm not even going to get into it. But
I kind of want to know where you were going to go there.
no, no, no. It's not, it's so pointless.
All right.
But
Still kind of want to know.
I'll tell you afterwards.
All right.
Total legend. All right. So let's get into some other stuff here. This one, I don't have a ton of thoughts on it, but I thought it was still interesting. I mean, I definitely have an opinion. Equinox, which is, I don't know, the most expensive gym in America. Is there anything more expensive than Equinox? I don't think so.
No, I think it's Premiere, and they have like I don't know what I read, 26 locations, but they're all in like Hollywood, New York, like Montauk, like they're in
Okay.
very nice places.
Okay. But yeah, Equinox is I think it's like 3 grand a year,
Mm-hmm.
something like that for a
Mm-hmm.
for a membership.
Yeah.
They are currently testing a new yearly membership focused on helping members live longer. The luxury fitness chain is poised to launch one of the most expensive annual gym memberships in the world, promising members to live healthier and longer. And I think that's the really important part of all of this, right? Is that they're saying you're going to live longer. I think every gym is trying to make their members healthier. That's the whole point of going to the gym is to be healthier. But once you start saying, oh, no, 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 we're not only going to make you healthier, we're going to extend the length of your life. You are going to live longer. You just have to give us 30,000, $40,000.
It's
Give us
I don't know
40
how they make
grand.
yeah, give us 40 grand. But like that's the weird thing. Like that's a crazy guarantee. Like how does that get through their legal team? They're
Sure.
guaranteeing longer life.
Well, look, it's a membership, right? So that means that there's a lot of paperwork that you're signing, and I'm sure they have, different clauses in Equinox has got a team of lawyers working on this to where they're covering themselves. Carl, makes it to 65. He thought he was going to make it to 75 because he paid Equinox 40 grand. And then, the wife shows up and goes, well, what did we pay all this money for? He died, 10 years younger than the normal life expectancy. We should get our money back. We should sue you, whatever it is. I definitely think they would have to cover that. It is a crazy thing to be like, we're going to help, we're going to make you live longer. There now, it's not just this idea of exercise. There's also this program I from Function Health,
Mm-hmm. Function
I think
Health.
it's
That's
called.
that,
Yeah.
that's a company they're working with, yeah.
So the idea is along with this whatever type of exercise program they're going to give you, there's a bunch of different tests that they're going to do as well, which will look at 100 different biomarkers, they're saying. So, I mean, this is the same thing you could go to the doctor for. You could just make an appointment with your doctor, and if Equinox could run the tests, your doctor could definitely run these tests. And I just don't see where the real value is.
They're checking your liver health, heart health, kidney function. They're doing all these things. But like if this technology is available at the tick of 40K through a private company, like why isn't this available everywhere?
Well, I mean, it for sure is. If you went to like for where I'm at in Arizona, there's the Sonora Quest. You can go there, and they will literally give you a packet of boxes that you could check, and you could get test. They could test whatever you want. I mean, dude, you can go get a physical. You could get hooked up to the machines. You could get on the treadmill. They'll do the EKG. I mean, it's all the same stuff. They're just wrapping it in, a fancier package. That's all they're doing. There's no way that there's a company that's coming up with a lab test that a doctor or like a medical office couldn't also do, because all of this stuff needs to be, regulated and tested before they're going to be able to do any of it anyway. And I don't think, Function Lab or whatever it is paying for that. They're waiting for it to get approved, and then they're starting their own company and they're doing their own thing. And it's an interesting idea. It makes sense for, gyms to start doing stuff like this. I get the business end of it. They're already in this world of like health and fitness, so why not attach a company who can check your liver and check your
Yeah.
kidneys and then let you know what that is, and then include that into some sort of, workout plan. But again, 40 grand is insane, and they're really just taking advantage of people who could just blow 40 grand on a crazy thing, because all you really need to do is get a physical, get yearly blood work, and you could do the exact same thing that Equinox is offering and get a gym membership at the Y and save yourself, I don't know, $39,000.
They are packaging they're packaging three things: people that are rich, people that are healthy, and people that want to live for a very long time. It's a smart package because you can, if you think about it this way, if you want to live longer, you're basically saying, I want to keep this subscription for as long as possible. So they can hit you for 40 grand, 10 more times potentially, if they can actually get you to live longer. If they can keep you on
Yeah.
their subscription longer, it's a great fucking business model. I get it. It really is.
Also, if you're rich, you also most likely want to live longer.
Yeah, you got
So
money to do shit.
your life is good. You don't want to die.
Right.
Why not try and get saved? But I mean, it's just like it's crazy to me if somebody goes, "Oh, this is how I fix my life. 40 grand to Equinox," instead of just being like, "Okay, I'm going to eat healthier, maybe drink less, try and get some better sleep, and get a yearly physical, maybe check my blood pressure once in a while, make sure my heart's not about to explode." It's not that hard of a thing to do on a normal budget. You could do everything that they're offering, but that's the whole thing. And then really quick, I have a few notes here that I made just as like when I was talking about this. I mean, they're taking advantage of people that are scared to die for sure. That's a
Yeah.
big part of it, which I think, I don't know, we could get into a whole discussion about how people are basically, everyone's living their life based on the fact that they're going to die one day. So I don't know if it's a morally, it's a gray area for me, because you're taking advantage of people, but who isn't taking advantage of somebody in some aspect of every part of your life? So
But do you think it's taking advantage if they're actually offering a service that does promote? Because they have three services. They have nutritionists, they have exercise, gurus like top trainers,
yeah.
and then they also have sleep specialists. So if you hit those three things, there is a good chance that you actually do extend your life.
Sure, but my point is just that the last place you should be going to do these things is Equinox. There's cheaper, more effective ways of knocking out all of these things, whether it be being better physical health or mental health, or checking liver, kidneys, cholesterol, all that stuff. I mean, it's $100 to go
Yeah,
to the lab and get your
right.
blood work done. Oh, it's
Yeah,
a
you're
hundred
just saying
bucks.
you're just saying it could be done cheaper at a local level
Don't
and you
let
don't have
yeah,
to.
don't let Equinox just tell you if you give us 40 grand, you're going to live longer. That's crazy. Because you also could walk out of that Equinox and just get hit by a bus. So, I mean, there's
All right,
no
but
guarantees in this life.
what about this? Like I could find pretty much, and I'm not like crazy internet savvy, but I could pretty much find any hit show, any hit movie on the internet for free, but I pay Netflix.
Sure. I
Like, you know what I'm
mean,
saying? They're
for
packaging a deal.
convenience,
Yeah, and there's people
but
that like pay for cable still.
there is a convenience. Sure. You go to Equinox and they're going to do, but I guarantee you they're not doing the blood work at Equinox. You still are going to have to go to like another lab somewhere. It would
Or
be the
they send it
same.
off. Oh, I see what you're saying. They're not doing it at the
They're
gym.
not taking your blood at Equinox.
Yeah.
You still got to go somewhere else. So what's the convenience?
That's a good point.
And look, good for Equinox. Make
Yeah.
your money. Dudes who got the scratch to blow, if that's how you want to try and live longer through Equinox, good luck, brother. I mean, there's other people who are like going out into the forest and eating, magic mushrooms and think that's going to make them live longer. So I'm not here to judge on whatever you decide to do that you think is going to make you live longer. I'm just saying from a financial point, 40 grand. You know what you could do with 40 grand besides give it to Equinox for a blood test?
So there's 4 programs, and in total, this requires 16 hours a week. That requires 16 hours a week of your time between the sleep, nutrition, working out, and the physical therapy or whatever else they were offering. I forget what the other one was. So 16 hours a week, you're talking about $208 per session to get to $40,000 a year. And it
Okay.
requires 16 hours of your time a fucking week.
Do you know how many people are going to pay the 40 grand and skip half of the
Have
sessions?
to just cancel half their fucking appointments.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're just
That'd
not
be
even going to
me.
show up. Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. And Equinox knows that. And that's why they made the price so high, because they're just going to get paid to do nothing, because again, Equinox already has a certain type of clientele anyway. I don't know. The whole thing is is pretty silly to me,
And this bullshit company, Function Health, said that their aim is to help humans live 100 healthy years.
Great.
Can you believe that?
I also love whatever. It's just it's another one of these like marketing ploys to take advantage of people that are scared to die, or they take advantage of people who don't know how to be healthy. I guess look, if you got the 40 grand, do it. Otherwise, I don't know, take the 40 grand and I don't know, feed a family of 4 for a year or something. I don't know.
That's a lot of money. I mean, that's
Don't
good
listen to
eating.
me.
That's 10 grand a person.
Go to Vegas,
Oh,
put it all on
yeah.
black.
At least they're taking advantage of the rich. Also, there's 200,000 people on a waiting list to get into this program.
That's pretty wild.
200,000 people.
200,000 people. I mean, in America. I mean,
Yes.
so I mean, percentage wise, that's very, very small, but still, it's 200. It's
Shitload
still,
of people.
there's 300 million plus in
Yeah.
America.
I'm just
So,
saying, I couldn't believe that, like, whatever they already have lined
but
up
that's
plus
the beauty of it.
200,000 extra.
With a price marker at 40 grand, 200,000 people is all you need. And I think you're successful. I don't know how much they're paying this company, but I'll tell you what, probably cost about 30 cents to do that blood test. So, also just speaking about like white people, we never specified white people, but we were talking about rich white people, I think at this
It's
point.
100% all white people.
Equinox is 100% marketing towards rich white people, dumb rich
Yes.
white people for sure.
Yes.
Um, and that kind of brings me to our next story, which I thought was interesting and I kind of wanted to talk about. This story came out maybe like a month ago. I saw it, and I thought it was interesting. They interviewed Jeff Goldblum, who, of course, Jeff Goldblum from Independence Day, Jurassic Park, uh,
Apartments.com.
apartments.com, your local jazz club. I have a friend. I have a friend who moved to LA. The first week she was in LA, Jeff Goldblum decides to do like a week residency at like this bar, and he just goes there, plays piano, and just probably just
Yeah. No, no, no. Like, yeah.
just wrecks the place. With,
Really?
I mean, I would imagine it's just women fighting over him. It's
He's
got a
the like perfect example of how men get better looking.
I mean, he's like Google, he's like 75 and
72.
he 72 and he
Uh-huh.
looks better than both of us
I
combined.
know, dude. If you combined us, we matched our blood, made a fucking 18-year-old.
I could do that
Jeff Goldblum's hotter.
Equinox plan for the rest of my life. I'd never look as good as Jeff
We're never
Goldblum.
hitting Jeff
By
Goldblum
the way,
level.
Jeff Goldblum never once paid Equinox a dime and he looks incredible and will probably live to be 100.
Yeah, I
Anyway,
bet he will. I bet he'll get to 90. No
he
question.
dude, he I mean, he is just killing it. So Jeff Goldblum was being interviewed for whatever it was. I don't know why they were interviewing him.
Some
Um,
radio show or some podcast.
but he made a comment that he doesn't believe in supporting his children after he passes away. When he dies, he doesn't believe in leaving his kids any of his money. He says it's an important thing to teach kids. I'm not going to do it for you. and you're not going to want me to do it for you. You've got to figure out how to find out what's wanted and needed, and where that intersects with your love and passion about what. And I do sort of get where he's coming from. Of course, it would be so nice to just be born into royalty. But there's a million other things in your life that you still are going to have to work on and figure out. But it would be nice to start on third base, and starting out on third, being left a large amount of money by your incredibly famous and handsome father, Jeff Goldblum. Yes, that would be ideal. But I kind of love the fact that he's like, and first of all, it's not like he's going to throw all his money in a fire pit. It's just going to go to his wife who had the children. And then when she dies, she's going to give it to her, the children. He just doesn't want to physically be like, you each get a bank account with 5 mil in it or whatever. He's not doing that. He's going to give the money to his wife, and then his wife's going to figure it out. But the story is Jeff Goldblum won't leave kids his money. And I thought that that was an interesting topic to have on the podcast anyway. What don't you love about this?
Okay, so he's 72 years old. His wife is 39. So you're
Of
probably
course
right.
she is.
Why not? Because he looks like he's 50.
And
he still looks like a handsome, like
he's
Clooney.
incredibly good looking.
Yeah.
If they came out with a new Jurassic Park and it was just Jeff Goldblum shirtless riding a dinosaur for 90 minutes, I would buy 9 tickets.
I'm going that day, going opening day.
Opening day, opening night. I'm there. I got a big bag of popcorn, and
he's worth 40 mil.
All right.
His wife is worth 500K. She's a Canadian dancer. Her name is Emile Livingston. But like I said, she's 30.
I mean, she's also worth 40 mil. Let's be real.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. But she's got 30 years on him. So his kids, by the way, are like 7 and 9 years old. So he will die and they'll be maybe 20 something.
Sure.
And then, so like, let's say they get through college, right? Great. And they're Goldblums. I'm sure there will be opportunities. And again, if his wife has left the money, I'm sure it'll all trickle down. But I just don't understand the idea of like, what did you work for the fortune for? What was the fucking point? What were you going to say?
I would say, first of all, what did he do it for? Well, I would imagine he had a passion for acting and he wanted to become an actor. That's what he did it for. I don't think you go into the career that he went into thinking, I'm doing this so that in 40 years, when I marry somebody 30 years younger than me, I could give all my money to my children that I really will never even get to know.
All right. Yeah, you won't like this, but just answer me. Is Jeff Goldblum that fucking great of an actor? This is a thespian. He's Jeff Goldblum in every fucking movie.
It's Jeff Goldblum acting in a movie for sure, but he's so charming that everybody loves it. Who you love it, and who doesn't love it? Who doesn't love it? I'm not saying I don't know what him being a good actor has to do with what he has to do with his money, though.
I'm just saying, like, it's not like he's like really worked his ass off. He didn't Daniel Day-Lewis this motherfucker. He was Jeff Goldblum his entire career.
Okay.
Thank God he got born Jeff Goldblum. So great, he's Jeff Goldblum.
You don't think Daniel Day-Lewis is incredibly annoying to be around, especially if you're his kids?
But he's dropping weight. He's gaining weight. He's fucking nuts.
He's Abraham Lincoln for 3 months. Yeah,
he rolls around in a wheelchair for fucking 6 years or something.
If my dad's Daniel Day-Lewis and I can't talk to my dad for 3 months because he's got to become Abraham Lincoln, I want a paycheck when he dies. Okay, you earn that. Your dad's Jeff Goldblum. That's more than enough. You don't also deserve to get paid to be Jeff Goldblum's dad. You get to be Jeff Goldblum's child.
Okay.
Opportunity already exists. You think these kids are going to have trouble making money? Why can't he do what he wants with his money?
I mean, of course he can, Rob. I understand what you're saying. I completely understand that part.
It's going to his wife. It's not like he's donating all of it or lighting it on fire. It's still going to his family. I think he just doesn't like the idea of his kids knowing they're set no matter what. Because who knows? Maybe he could convince his wife to be like, look, when you die, donate it to charity or buy them houses and then donate the rest or whatever. You're equating love to money.
Yes.
Which is
passing on your fortune, making life easier for your kin.
But he's giving his kids a great life. He's already giving them a great future by being who he is and the connections they're going to get. He's doing so much for them. Just because he's not giving them his 30 million doesn't mean he doesn't love his kids or like want them to have good lives. He wants them to work a little
All
bit
right, what
and
if
earn it.
do you think he should buy them their first car?
For sure. Of
Do you think he should
course.
do you think he should put them through college?
Of course.
Yeah,
A dad,
1974.
a dad who has a decent office gig can put his kids through college. So of course Goldblum should put his kids through college. Now, do I think he needs to leave them a bank account with 15 million in it? I don't think that necessarily needs to happen. He's a grown ass man who could do whatever he wants with his money. He's it's not like his kids are homeless right now. He's clearly taking care of his family, and I'm sure they'll always be taken care of, but I don't think he needs to put them in a position to where they never need to put in any effort towards life. You think they're ever going to really work,
I
bud?
don't know.
They're
If,
not
if
going
they
to.
don't have any fucking inheritance, they're gonna have to work at some point.
Yeah, and they're going to get a job as a production assistant on some movie studio, and then they're going to become a director, and they're going to shoot commercials, and they're going to get paid 100 grand a commercial, and they're going to be fine.
Because they're
That's
Goldblums.
like the worst version of their life, is they become a television
That is
director.
kind of shitty. Yeah, commercial direction is pretty
What
fucking
they're
tough.
going to
But
end up doing is probably become some philanthropist and move to Singapore and help children that are missing that have hearing in their left ear, and they're going to start some nonprofit, and they're going to be taking a percentage off the top. They're going to be fine. They're going to be fine.
you keep saying they're good. You know how I'd know they would be fine? Do you know how I'm positive they would be fine?
How?
If he gave them his fucking money.
You know what? You're I mean, look, we're both doing pretty good. How much money did your dad give you?
Zero.
And you're doing pretty good, right? So
It still sucks.
Goldblum's kids are already set up way beyond what we'll ever be set up on, and we're doing good. So they're going to be doing just fine. Now, sure, they could maybe want the Hunter Biden lifestyle and just smoke crack every day and wear nice suits and go shopping,
He's having a ball. You
but
seen those fucking
maybe they don't
laptop
want that
videos?
life. I just saw another story the other day. Every child Brad Pitt adopted is taking Pitt off of their last name because apparently he's a horrible human being.
I know. He likes to throw hands. Fucking
Apparently he
psycho.
loves to beat everybody in his life,
Imagine
and
being
then
that good
just
looking and still being pissed off.
could you imagine being that good looking and just having any anger in your body
What the
whatsoever?
fuck are you mad about, dickhead? God damn. Chill out.
It's really a bummer, but
Look in the
yeah,
mirror. Every time you get pissed.
there at some point there's going to be a P Diddy like documentary, but it's going to be about Brad Pitt and how he just beat his children for 18 years,
On a private
just
plane,
putting cigarettes out on them. Yeah, while they're flying over the Atlantic Ocean.
beating the shit out of fucking Filipino kids at altitude.
Uh,
Why? What are you doing?
I mean, to adopt children, like, yeah.
I hated
Anyway,
that story. Yeah.
we're really going off here. I always liked Jeff Goldblum. I like that his thought process isn't immediately to just give his kids everything. I always loved like the TV dad, like the Bernie Mac show, or like the Cosby show. I believe Bill Cosby maybe said it at one point as well. The character, not the actual human.
Yeah.
But you're not rich, I'm rich.
Okay. Yeah.
We're not wealthy, I'm wealthy. And
Man.
it's my money, and I will do whatever I want with it. And I think that again, those kids are going to be just fine, but it's not going to hurt them if they got to maybe earn something a little bit.
Don't have children. Don't know if I will have children. If
Yeah.
I were to end up wealthy, I don't know how I could not give that to my kids. I don't
See,
understand. I don't think I could. I don't think I could ever do that.
if we started making money and I started getting some big checks, the last thing I'm doing is having kids. That money is mine. I don't even want to give them the opportunity to take it. That's the first mistake Goldblum even made, was having kids.
Having children, and he had kids at like fucking 70 years old, 60 fucking 5 years
I
old.
mean, yeah, there's a whole different aspect to the story of being that old and having kids. And just obviously, De Niro and what's his
Yeah,
name, both just had kids. They're in their 80s,
80s.
but they plan on, I'm sure, leaving all of their money to their children. Goldblum's like,
A dick.
life finds a way, man. You know, life finds a
Life,
way.
life
They're,
does
they're going to be
find a
just
way.
fine. Um, All right, so let's get into this last one here. Not a ton to report, but just, obviously we're keeping up on all this Boeing stuff, and there was what's the word? An autopsy for John Barnett, who was the first whistleblower from Boeing to die. He was apparently ruled a suicide from the coroner that did the autopsy.
This
Um,
was the guy, by the way, that shot himself in his truck
yeah.
at like a Holiday Inn.
Yeah. So, I mean, apparently there's like a 100-page police report. There's 911 recordings from the hotel worker who found him. There's a photo of a note.
Hmm.
That's really what I would love to. I don't know. Do you think we ever get to hear what was on the note?
Yeah, so there are two things. There's another thing that they said. So there's obviously video in the parking garage at the hotel where he killed himself. So all of this report says he backed into the parking lot late. He backed into his parking spot very late, like in the evening before his death. Apparently, he stayed in his car. He slept in his car overnight because at like 7 a.m., 6 or 7 a.m., they see brake lights hit. So that's on the
Yeah.
video, apparently. And then after that, a hotel worker says he hears a pop, doesn't investigate it for a few hours, eventually comes out, finds a dead body. So there's a video, and like you said, the suicide note. But
Yeah.
again, neither of these things have been released. These are obviously things that would without a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt, show that nobody else interfered. If it's a gunshot wound, it's a gunshot wound. If nobody else entered that vehicle, there's no way that you could sit here like we were
Yeah.
doing a few weeks ago and be like, this is bullshit. This seems fishy. So why not fucking release those two things?
Well, I think they will. They also mention in the story that there is references to Boeing in the note, so the note has been documented. If they're able to write this story, and they're able to put in the story references from the note, it's going to come out. Somebody's going to it'll leak, whatever. It'll come out eventually. But yeah, I mean, look, all the proof is there.
And it's
Of
like
course,
insurmountable proof.
yeah, of course, there's going to be people that are still going to be skeptical, and I think that's understandable. But it does. I'm going back to my original theory, which is I think the dude was suicidal, depressed, and was going to kill himself no matter what, and he just waited for the weekend of the Boeing,
The
meetings
hearing. Yeah.
just to get it in the news, draw more attention to Boeing. I really think the guy had a bigger plan with his suicide, and part of it was, yeah, to make it look like Boeing killed him, even though they didn't,
Hmm.
from what it seems like, and just get more eyes on the whole story, which it 100% did. So it does seem that their Boeing's cleared of this murder suicide. And it
Yeah.
just also makes me think that there are crazy coincidences. The fact that two whistleblowers have died is incredibly sketchy. It really is. But I don't know, man. We live in a weird world where
I
there
know.
are some weird coincidences happening. We had a weird coincidence happen to us today.
Yeah,
Weird
that's true.
things just happen. And that's
I
kind of
just
just like the whole mystery of this weird life that we have.
on paper, as this stands on paper, I was 1,000% wrong because everything that is in that report suggests, and if there's video evidence of it, it not only supports but it proves that this was a suicide. No
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
Boeing is the first person, the first organization that should be the one to propagate this video, to put it out to the public and be like, we didn't kill this guy.
Yeah, and I'm sure we're gonna get the
It's not
video.
graphic.
I'm sure we're gonna get the note. Yeah, no, I think we'll get all that stuff. I think it just takes time, right? Like the same
Eh,
reason it took forever, how long it's been to get an
the
autopsy
Diddy shit.
report.
Yeah, we
No,
got time.
everything just takes time,
All right.
and I think we'll get it. But then of course, you're just gonna get people that'll be like, oh, well, you could doctor video, and who
Uh,
knows, uh,
I'm
you
still not
know,
there.
you know,
I'm not there
who
with
knows
those people right now.
who knows, what happened. And there's obviously ways to talk around all of this evidence. But I would say, did he tell his friend who went on the news and said, if they say it's a suicide, it's not true, like I won't kill myself?
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like everything about this that I
Yeah.
thought is now completely fucked because if he's that
Yeah.
insane to say that kind of shit to his friend, to
Yeah.
actually kill himself and set this all up to make Boeing, to bring Boeing into light, is very smart if he really did have a plan. You can tell me that there's a video of a guy killing himself in his car all you want. This is a private company.
I think uh I think we'll get that stuff. It's
I'm
just
still
everything takes forever.
I still
But
think Boeing did it.
I mean, the only thing that is not making me 100% sold is the fact that two whistleblowers died. If it was just him, I would probably be on the side of, okay, yeah, he did kill himself, and that's sort of the end of it. People kill themselves, especially men. It's like, I don't know, 40,000. It's an insane number of people. Thousands of men kill themselves every day. So it's not that crazy. But the second another whistleblower dies and it's the whole thing is kind of sketchy, he's healthy, he gets this weird infection, it just doesn't help their case. I don't know, man. Most things can be explained. You just really have to, legitimately investigate. But as of right now, John Barnett is a suicide.
Yeah, in the midst of their biggest like PR tragedy in the history of their company, two people die that are like, hey man, they were they were fucking up.
Yeah.
And then they're like, hey, there's video. Show me the fucking video.
I think we'll get it. I think we'll get it, and we'll watch it on the podcast, and then we'll still have some questions. So I don't think I'll ever be convinced of most of the conspiracy theories that I'm willing to investigate and sort of, have an opinion on. I don't know if there's ever going to be proper evidence to convince me otherwise, and that's just my problem, and I think that's just where we're stuck at. But
All right, I
um,
don't know if this is gonna make the podcast. I don't know if
yeah.
this is gonna make the podcast, but look what I got.
Look at you, got yourself a blood pressure monitor.
And Rob has been advising me to, he's like, just go get a blood panel, get a blood pressure cuff, like figure shit out. Stop being so scared about it. Just do it.
Yeah,
So finally I find a practitioner in my area. I took the virtual video with her and I told her about like, I had an ear infection a while back and my blood pressure was a bit high. And she was like, get yourself a cuff immediately. And she was like, monitor yourself for like 2 or 3 weeks and log it. So I
yeah.
found this thing. It's called iHealth. I found it on Amazon, and apparently, it will log all my stuff like on an app.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, I was going to say
S
the one that I use just keeps it in the machine itself, and you can just
Okay.
go back and you could just go look at them.
Okay.
Whenever I was like, going through all my like leg stuff and was on different medications and needed to keep tabs on my blood pressure a little bit more, sometimes I would just take a photo of it with my phone because your phone puts the time, the date. It's like you just have it there. So it's like, and did she say how often to check it? Like once a week or
Yeah. Well,
what?
she told me a bunch of shit. First of all, she was like, because I told her, I went and had a doctor's appointment and had high blood pressure, and she was like, well, listen, there's a thing called white coat syndrome,
Sure. Yeah.
which
But
is like you're scared you're at the doctor.
yeah, which you definitely have, I'm sure.
Probably might have had a little bit of it. But
You
then
did
she was like,
anytime we ever talk about this, the look on your face is terrified. So I'm pretty
dude,
sure your blood pressure, dude, when I went to I was cool as a cucumber. Most of the time I went to the doctor or the hospital and like where I felt fine. But when they checked my blood pressure was crazy high. So it's like, you just don't know, man. You could feel fine, but your body is just like not doing so hot, you know?
I'm gonna take my blood pressure right now. It's the first time I've used this
Well,
fucking thing. Oh God.
this is a terrible time to check your blood pressure.
Let's do it anyway. If
Okay.
this number's crazy, I'm not fucking announcing it. If it's decent,
But buddy, first of all, the position that your body's in,
oh yeah,
you should be sitting you should be sitting somewhere and like taking deep breaths and like calming your body down for 5 minutes before you even check your blood pressure. This is a terrible idea because it's gonna be bad and it's gonna scare the shit out of you. So don't do it.
I'm doing it anyway.
It's okay, but this reading means nothing, but
Uh,
it's for the
hold on,
podcast, I
hold
guess.
on. Okay,
Here we
okay.
go.
This is not bad as I thought. Hold on, is this bad?
Yeah.
153 over 85. Is that bad?
The 153 is bad.
85 not bad?
85 is good. 85 is you want it to like the ideal number is 80. But the
All
one
right.
the other ideal number is 120, and you're at 153.
120?
Yeah.
Fuck.
I told you not to do it.
Fucking shouldn't have done that.
I
I'm gonna
told you
think about this all fucking night.
you're gonna do it again. You probably didn't even do it right.
I
I'm
did it
gonna
right.
we're gonna no, you probably didn't because
Will you help me?
it needs to go on your arm a certain way. You need to lay your arm a certain way. I'm sure you did it completely wrong.
Okay.
So we're gonna end the podcast. I'm gonna teach Gary how to check his blood pressure. And thank you for listening. We appreciate it, and we'll talk to you next time. Unless Gary's blood pressure is incredibly bad and he passes away. But thank you for
I
listening.
just died.